Hey everyone. Before we get started today, I wanted to take a minute to talk about today's episode. This actual play episode is part of the All Flesh is Surplus jam for The Lost Bay. You can find more information about the jam, including other actual play episodes and a sale which runs through Friday, November 1st at thelostbaystudio.com. I'll put a link in the show notes. I'd also like to thank Eco for organizing the jam, and to David, aka Verdant Core, on the Lost Bay Discord for managing the sign-up forms, as well as Danny and Chris for coming onto the show to play with us. This episode uses additional background, ambiance, and music, all sourced from Tabletop Audio, tabletopaudio.com. This episode also uses a bit more adult language than we normally would for one of our episodes, so listener discretion is advised. And with that, it's time to sit down, get cozy, and enjoy the Mall of Horrors. Hello and welcome to Undercommon Taste. This is a podcast where we create and discuss homebrew content for tabletop RPGs.
Trick or treat for Halloween. When ghosts and goblins by the score ring the bell and knock your door, you better not be stingy or your nightmares may come true.
I'm Ian Woodworth. I'm joined by my co-host James Daly, and today we have two guests with us, Danny and Chris, who are going to be playing The Lost Bay with us. We're part of the All Flesh is Surplus promotion going on for The Lost Bay here around spoopy season. We are one of several actual plays that are going to be running, and I will have links to all of those down in the show notes. I don't have links to them yet because we are recording this well in advance because I'm going to be going out of town for a week and a half in the beginning of October, and I want to make sure I have enough time to edit this.
That's right. It's all about Ian.
It is. Well, whenever you start editing, then you get to start making these decisions, James. All right. So let's real quick do some introductions. Let's start with Danny, and then we'll move to Chris, because this is Chris's game, and Chris is going to be running.
Sure. Hey, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. I'm Danny Mendoza. I'm a professional storyteller. Recently have dived really headfirst into TTRPGs. Really in love with The Lost Bay. I've been playing a bit with Eco, and it's a great time. So I'm super stoked to be here and to play.
And we have had Eco on a couple of times over the past few months, so I will also have links to those episodes in the show notes. So if you want to go back and listen to what The Lost Bay is all about, if you can't get it from today's game, or if you just want more than what shows up in today's game, I'll have those episodes linked in the show notes as well. So Chris, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and then go straight into introducing the module.
So my name's Chris. I've been a game master, referee, storyteller for the last 15, 16 years. I'll be running the Lost Bay Mall of Horror. It is a sort of module, sort of like generated content that I've put together for All Flesh is Surplus. Eventually it will be put out as a one-page RPG sort of like module. Today the players are going to be finding themselves trapped in a mall. We're going to see how they escape it and what they lose in the process. So if everyone's ready, we will go ahead and jump into the scene.
All right, let's do it.
So it is dark. It is entirely dark for all of you. You have found yourselves in a dirty, rustic, almost like stone-like structure. The floor is cold. The atmosphere it's like stale air. There is no sound. It is dead silent. This is where you find yourselves as you're waking up on the cold floor of a sort of large space. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourselves as you're waking up and kind of responding to the environment.
So my character, I think, would react to this first and foremost, because you said it's dead silent. My character's name is Bear, and I'm going to try to use this deeper voice. Their vibe is a screamer, so sound is very important to them. They have a natural echolocation. They got their weirdness from basically being exposed to way too much sound as a child. They were sat in front of a concert speaker to the point to where like the sound reverberated through their soul, their ears started bleeding. And so like just the quiet, the only thing I can hear is my own pulse just thump, 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 going through my ears. The fact that it is so quiet is extremely disconcerting to me.
Yeah, so my character is Sid Stone. He's a splinter. Sid is going to push himself up to a sitting position and just sort of like run his tongue across his teeth. And I get the feeling that he's got that sort of look for the cat that pissed in your mouth, sort of, hangover kind of, cotton ball going on in his mouth. And he's just sort of sitting there and just going, no, just making those really gross mouth noises. Not those gross mouth noises, James.
Oh, this is about the mouth.
So before Happy even opens his eyes, he reaches into the pocket of his sort of outer lair. It's a makeshift sort of interior sling that carries his infrared camcorder that he always has with him. He feels around to it and feels that it's in good shape as he opens his eyes and looks around, still quite dazed. Happy is an adherent of the Living Saint, the Monitor, which makes him a scanner. He's 21 years old. His hair goes where it wants. His beard is wild. He has a pale complexion derived from sitting in dark rooms, staring at screens more often than being outside. The bags under his eyes are settling in the wake of years of little sleep. He's neither big nor small. He's got a barely visible scar between his eyes, a gift from an eyepiece slamming into his face when he was filming someone tired of seeing him around, and he has various scars on his left arm and hand. He recovers his weird by filming ghosts with his DIY camera, and this actually relates to how he got his weird. When he was 19, so just 2 years prior to this moment, his twin, Danny, disappeared. The short of it is that they had gone with a bunch of friends to a park to try to teach Danny, at age 19, how to ride a bike. And there was a moment where Danny felt very humiliated. He went off on his own. Happy stayed back to party with some of the friends, and then Danny disappeared, right? Ever since then, Happy has been trying to find his twin brother, whether he's dead or not, and that's where the ghost thing comes in. Even if his brother's dead, he wants to try to find him. He has a sense that he hasn't left the bay, right? So he's constantly on the lookout for that. He's got, one of his items is a missing person flyer, which is actually a missing person flyer of his brother, Danny. But if you don't know that, it looks like he's carrying around a missing person flyer of himself, right? Since they're identical twins. He's got a rain cloak on, paper cutter, looking around.
Okay. So, again, this is an incredibly dark place. You can sort of see 5 feet in front of you. Maybe that all depends on your own personal characters, what you guys have available. You have all your items that you sort of start with. So if anyone has any light resources, maybe someone has an infrared camera they want to use to look around, you guys are free to do so at this time. This open area is yours to explore. Have at it.
Yeah, so for sure, Happy's got his camcorder on immediately. It's the main way that he interacts with the world around him. It is able to toggle the infrared status on it. He toggles it on, and he starts looking around to see what's going on there. In the moment before this moment, were we all here together, or were we all here separately?
You're all in the same cluster. Whether you've known each other prior is up to you guys. So let's assume we all sort of know each other in a general sense, at least having at least one run-in.
Yeah, I would say that we would probably at least be familiar with each other. Maybe we all went to high school together, so we may not have all run in the same circles, but we at least know who one another is.
Fair.
Copy that.
Because I have a strong sneaking suspicion that Sid and Happy would not run in the same circles.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite possible. Happy does, looking around, first, not necessarily going to identify you all that clearly because it is infrared, right? But would have clocked you maybe before we went down. So there's a little bit of recognition there, but he's still just trying to get his bearings.
I mean, you'd probably recognize Sid pretty quickly because Sid has a buzz cut and he has one of those black canvas or cotton duck trench coats. Very mid to late 90s sort of regalia, if you will. And that is a look that he has had since he was a junior in high school. So you would recognize that this is sort of his look. And he's enough of a troublemaker that you would at least know who he is, whether you actually know him or not.
How old is Sid?
Sid is 20.
Okay. So Sid would be a couple years older, so Sid was probably a junior as I was a freshman. My character's 18. Bear is going to kind of sit up and just kind of listen. I maybe clap my hands once or twice to see if I can get an idea of the size of the room around me. Bear is similarly dressed in that mid-90s, not quite goth, but more the punk look. So again, jeans, leather, distressed, not quite grunge. But yeah, so again, I don't have anything that's useful for me on my person, so I'm going to listen to see if I hear people moving around me and try to get a feel from sound if I can get a general, like, is the room empty and echoey? Is it full? Is the sound being absorbed easily, like by maybe cloth or furniture or something along those lines?
So as you clap, there's an echo, and it seems to reverberate for a bit. It seems, given sort of your vibe, given your reliance on sound, you can tell that this is probably a pretty big room. Think like a food court, per se.
Okay.
There's probably like obstructions in the area, but generally this is a sort of wide open area, and there are basically heavy walls. You're not sure what the sound is bouncing off of, but the floor feels very cold and sort of like very textured, very rocky, almost like cobblestone.
Nice. Okay. Bear's gonna get up and slowly start walking towards the north. I'm gonna have my hands kind of out. My vision's not the best, so I'm gonna have my hands kind of out to feel to make sure I don't run into anything. I'm moving slowly and steadily. I'm going to try to find a wall.
So as you're heading north, you are sort of passing through the center of like a series of tables spread out. So you're sort of like, somehow you're dodging all these sort of like pillars holding up the ceiling, and you're just heading straight for that opposite wall. So you're getting closer to that like shoe store on the other side of the food court, and you're coming up against that wall. And the wall itself is cobblestone. Again, like you can feel the rough texture, the stone. It's not quite damp, but you do feel like this is a stone that maybe there's condensation in here. The air is very stale, almost humid. The walls are probably not quite grimy, but not quite slick, just a little bit of moisture.
Fair. So it's like a muggy day.
It's like a muggy day in the south, yeah.
Yeah. Do I hear anybody else in this room, or do I still feel alone?
No one in this larger group, or the group that you showed up here with, has really made a ton of noise, to my knowledge. If they have, then you've heard them.
I was making disgusting mouth noises. I don't know if that would have picked up.
I would say, yeah, you heard the mouth noises. Let's say they're kind of like, you've made your way down there, the mouth noises start happening as you're kind of away from like where you woke up. They're kind of out of sync in a way. Go ahead.
I'm going to, when I get to the wall, I'm going to kind of face towards the mouth noises. I'm going to, hey, who's there?
Sid, who's there?
Bear.
No shit.
What's going on, Sid? By a wall?
And I'm going to get up, and I'm going to sort of shuffle walk towards his voice. Just, going real slow, small steps to, minimize the impact if I walk into something.
I will try to guide him as I hear him shuffle across the room so he knows generally which direction to come in.
And Happy has been watching all of this through his infrared camera from a short distance, able to see the body movements clearly through its eyepiece, but has not yet made a sound. He wants to see where this goes first.
He's like, do you think we're still in the mall?
I maybe these walls feel, if we're in a mall, I think the AC might be out. I don't know these.
Well, clearly the power's out. Otherwise, we would have, the exit lights on. So
fair. Yeah. How did I get here? How did you get here?
I walked.
Smart ass. I don't recall coming here.
I mean, I was already in the mall. I was, modifying some of the posters with a Sharpie and...
As you should.
Doing my civic duty. Next thing I know, I'm flat on my ass and all the lights are out, so...
Well, fuck this. Let's get the hell out of here.
On that, Happy comes up and he just starts talking to them without introduction. She says, hey, you guys are getting out of here?
Jesus.
The fuck? Yeah, let's... Who the hell are you? What are you doing here?
It's Happy. You remember? Was it Sid? I was a year ahead of you.
Yeah, I vaguely remember you.
Yeah.
Wait,
Okay.
You had a brother, right?
I did. Yeah. I'm still looking for him.
Really? I always thought that was just like an attention grab.
Yeah, I can get that. I talk about him a lot, but it's real. I really did have a brother. I know that you were a few years behind us, right? And I'm here pointing at my camera, realizing that y'all probably can't see it.
All we see is this tiny little red dot floating in the darkness.
Yeah, my camera has infrared, so I can help guide us. I can help guide us out of here. Yeah, if you want the help, do you guys want to try to get out of here together?
Yeah, let's get out of here. I'm not feeling this.
I mean, have you got like a flashlight, or can we see a light switch, or?
I don't have one. I could try to help us find one. The best I've got is this camcorder. I was watching you all for a second though before I came up, trying to figure out who you were. And Barrett, it looked like you were getting around okay, even though you couldn't really see. So you're pretty good.
Hear.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you listen, you don't walk into shit.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I'm looking at the map and I'm trying to see if there are any stores nearby that would, carry flashlights or lanterns or like a sporting goods store or anything. I'm not seeing anything on the map. I mean, would I, being a regular mall rat at this mall, just a regular delinquent, would I know where I would need to go to find those sorts of items?
So there are two places that it could be in a larger sense. Skechers coming soon probably has some like Milwaukee power tools or something of that nature that you could probably grab. Maybe there's a flashlight in there. GameWorks was actually just bought out by this up and coming company called Radio Shack, and they might have something in there.
All right, and I think GameWorks is probably closer to where we are right now, so I'd say let's duck into the store here and see. If nothing else, we can check, the ticket desk at the theater, because, all the guys checking tickets, they have to have a flashlight to, check your ticket. So I need something to see. I'm useless if I can't see. So
That might work. The Marshalls or the hardware store. I was getting some components to build my synth some further up. But yeah, the GameWorks, that should work as well.
So I'm gonna have to ask one of you to lead the way because I can't see shit.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and lead the way, and I take point in the front. Are we gonna like daisy chain, or is it gonna try to connect?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put a hand on your shoulder, and I'm kind of leaning down and peeking through the viewfinder on your camera to halfway see where I'm going.
I'm not touching, but I'm following like just a step behind. I'm listening to the shuffle of feet.
Okay. Sounds good. So you all make your way to the GameWorks. The GameWorks door and like the shutter that comes down are all open. Like this is the mall. Basically, like whatever happened, and it was before closing. So everything's just wide open. You're able to get into the GameWorks with the use of the infrared camera, with the use of your sound. You're probably able to find these flashlights within, let's say, 20-30 minutes. You now have flashlights. You have batteries for those flashlights. You have light.
Hooray!
Cool.
Just one flashlight each? Is that roughly what we're doing?
One flashlight each, and if you want batteries for backup, you can take those as well.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and open the packs of batteries, and because I'm wearing a trench coat, I have deep pockets, and so I'm just dumping a couple of fistfuls of batteries down into my trench coat pocket.
I took a more like regular amount of batteries out of my thing because I had less room to move it in. Just maybe like 2 backup sets that would fit this one flashlight.
I took some batteries, and while they're there, I mean, again, trying to work on my synth, I'll probably go through and, like, you said this was going to be basically bought out by a Radio Shack, GameWorks was?
Yes, it was acquired by Radio Shack.
Yeah, so I'm going to go through, like, their little electronics department, and I'm going to grab probably, like, some capacitors and some relays and some wire, and kind of just shuffle that into my backpack as well.
Now, is there anything that we see here that has like a television screen of any sort? Is there any kind of like little mobile thing that would have that and try to pick up like TV signals with little baby rabbit ears?
So you know those camping sets where there's a little TV on it with the bunny ears and you like have to hand crank it every so often?
Yeah.
You do find one of those.
Okay, so I'm going to I'm going to call that hand crank mini TV.
Does anyone else take anything from the GameWorks?
I don't think so, not at the moment. I am going to, now that I have a flashlight and I'm shining it around, I am going to try and assess the situation because, the floor didn't feel right. And so I'm going to be, shining specifically, inspecting the floor, inspecting the walls, inspecting the ceiling, just to try and get a feel of, this is very familiar, but something is off. And I'm trying to assess what the thing that is off is.
Fair. While I'm still here, could I grab a small AM FM radio? Or even like maybe a shortwave walkie-talkie?
Sure. Do you want a pair of walkie-talkies or just one?
Probably just go ahead and grab a pair.
Okay. We'll toss a third one in there just so you have a network if you guys get separated.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'd each have a walkie-talkie. Is that the idea?
Yes. So I'll grab the walkie-talkies and an AM FM radio.
And I'm also going to ask Happy if he needs to grab extra batteries for his camcorder because he may not want the battery to die, and then if something happens to the flashlights, he'd be stranded without a way to see.
That is a very good idea. Happy is grateful for the recommendation and very much does get some backup batteries for the camcorder.
Okay. So you have the camcorder, you have batteries, you have radios, you have all this electronic stuff. Someone asked about looking out into the main area with their light, trying to see what they see. In general, you see that the floor, walls, and you can see just a bit of the ceiling in this outside area are all stone. The same stone. It feels as if the place you are in was not necessarily made, but carved out. Feels like you're in a mall that has been buried underground, or not even buried, but was carved underground. So, for all intents and purposes, you are in a underground, sort of mined out mall that does not feel like it necessarily belongs in the bay.
But the mall does feel familiar to us, correct?
It's the same generic stone that you find when you dig a little too deep in the bay.
Okay. At this point, I'm going to feel, because it looks like we should have an exit right next to us, I'm going to be like,
Yeah, I was about to say, I remember that there's supposed to be a door there, so I'm going to, peek my head out of the storefront and shine my flashlight down towards where I know there's supposed to be a door.
Yeah, I'm ready to just walk out and hey, thanks for helping me get out of the food court. This has been weird. Got some stuff. I'll catch you guys later. And I'm headed towards the exit as well.
Okay. So as you all approach the exit, and with the flashlights sort of pointed in that direction, you notice that it appears as if there has been a cave-in at this entrance, and there seems to be stone and all your sort of mud and debris that has sort of come in through the door. So that door, you're not getting through that door without a big old shovel and maybe some motorized, mechanized, just general machinery. Get a bobcat over here and you might get through that door.
Yeah, I look at Sid and I point at the door and I kind of shrug.
Yeah, I'm looking at it too. It's well, we ain't getting out that way.
I'm behind the two of y'all, so I'm gonna swing my camera around and I'm gonna look sort of in every direction where we came from, and also whatever might be off to the side of us, to see if there's another path that I can identify that we might be able to take toward a different exit.
Okay. So you see the general food court. Maybe you look for one of those stanchion maps in the food court. Okay.
100%, it would be great to be able to identify that, because I can tell you Happy is having a harder time remembering what this mall layout might be like, particularly thrown off by the fact that it seems like a mall/cave, right? It's carved out of the ground. It's unnerving him a little bit.
Okay. So you find the map. It's right in the center of the food court. It shows you are here, food court. So to generally describe the map, you have your general fashion and your general sort of clothing stores, your sort of quote unquote police station inside the mall. You have your general adult stuff where it's watch repair and music store, more like vinyls or 8-tracks. And then kind of the little playground for kids when your folks are off doing shopping. So that's all towards the west. So if you come out of GameWorks and then hook a right and another right, you're going to start heading towards that area. If you're going, out of GameWorks and then make a right, and then sort of make a right out of GameWorks, then make a left and head east. You're going to be getting all of the sort of like teen stores, your H&M's, your Forever 21s, your Burlington Coat Factory. Not really a teen store, but you know what I mean. Even at the end, there's like an arcade that you can go to with some of your more generic sort of smoothie places and pretzel places. You know the smell. Outside of that, that's like the top half of the mall. Your south side of the mall is going to be all of your kind of a little bit more nicer stuff. You're going to get your like Claire's down there. You're going to get your Lens Crafters. Your proper H&M is down there.
I'm going to recommend to the group here that we either go into the movie theater that's right next to where we are to see if there's an exit we can find through the back of the movie theater to get out faster than having to go through the whole mall, or that we go down by the arcade because it looks like there's 2 exits on that side, and if one of them doesn't work, maybe the other one will.
So the other thing I'm going to be doing, I am specifically looking around the food court while Happy is checking the map. I'm looking for other people. I'm looking to see if there are any other people, whether they're walking around or they're passed out on the ground or, otherwise incapacitated. I'm just looking to see if there are other individuals other than just the 3 of us in this mall right now.
No, there's no one. This is a empty mall. Outside of the noise you all are making, it is quiet. It is dead silent as like when you woke up. As far as like presence or sort of like movement within the mall, nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, so Bear's feeling uncomfortable. I'm kind of like just kind of humming to myself, kind of stimming a bit, and I'm going to start trying to open that AM FM radio up to see if I can get some sort of like music or chatter or background noise. The fact that it is so quiet is really disturbing me. It's making me extremely uncomfortable.
Okay. So you go ahead and throw on your radio. You're underground. As far as you can tell, like the general atmosphere is you're underground. There's who knows how thick walls. All you're getting is essentially snow. You're just getting pure static. You're not getting any like burps of like radio or anything like. It's just static.
I go through and I try to like adjust the channels, and I'm finding that it's all static and snow. I almost find this calming. It's like white noise, and so I have it down lower, but I do have on, so I just have this like constant white noise kind of in my back pocket, just kind of going.
Okay. So Sid, being the mall rat that he is and the ne'er-do-well that he is, I think that he would know of the location for the roof access ladder, because all of these malls have a roof access ladder somewhere in the interior, to get up there to like service the HVAC units and all of that. Does he remember where that is and how we would get to it?
You know where it is, but you also know, given previous adventures, that you're going to need to get the keys to get into this area. You don't know how many keys you're going to need to get. It's varied before, whether you need to get... At the end of the day, the roof access is in the back of the security room.
Okay, so the mall. Where the police station is on the map?
Yeah, let's use that.
Okay, so I'm going to talk to Happy because Happy suggested we check the theater and see if there is an exit out the back of the theater. And Sid's going to say, that's not a terrible idea. We are right here at the theater. If we can't find a way out through the theater, I think we might be able to get out through the roof access in the back of the police station, assuming that, there's nobody else in here that's going to keep us from doing that.
Okay. Maybe we should just go straight there if you know where that is.
Well, I mean, the theater's right here, and so I don't think it's going to hurt us any to check while we're right here. And, if anybody happens to be in there, we can maybe corral them and help get other people out. I mean, I'm not seeing anybody right now, but that doesn't mean that there's not anybody tucked away somewhere.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Maybe better that we get out of more open spaces and get into situations where it's a little harder to sneak up on us. And with that, I'm Happy's just going to go right up and he's going to try the door to the movie theater, see if it opens.
Okay. So you go to the movie theater and you try the door, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. The door gives way pretty easily. You're able to enter into the movie theater.
I call out to them. Well, we all have flashlights, but to get their attention, to say that we can go on if they want.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and follow in.
Absolutely. And as we're going through, one of the items that I have in my starting gear was a carved revolver grip, and the way I've flavored this is it is a revolver, but the cylinder is missing, so there's no way to load bullets into it to actually shoot it. And so he just carries it around, and occasionally he'll use it as a club, or he'll flash it in someone's face to make them think he has a gun. And he'll use that for intimidation sometimes. But right now he's got it pulled out and he's holding it by the barrel so that he can, use it as a club if necessary.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
So you make your way into the movie theater. All of you are past the threshold and in here. As you all sort of venture forth through the movie theater, you do start to hear a noise. It sounds like voices, maybe some dramatic music in the background. And screams.
So I stop and I immediately listen, and I'm trying to figure out if it's actual people or if it's a film that's running.
With your ears, you're able to pinpoint that this is a movie running.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm going to stop when I hear that, and I'm going to say, "Bear, is that IRL or is that on a screen?"
It's what is it? What's the old, not Magnavox, crap. If I could remember the old 80s ad, is it real or is it has the dog. Dolby Sound? Is it not? It's not Dolby Sound.
RCA?
Yeah, RCA or Memorex.
RCA was the one with the dog.
Yeah, so it's RCA.
And you can see Sid sort of relax just a little bit.
And as soon as Happy hears that, he goes toward the sound of the screen. He wants to go look at what's playing.
I kind of want to see too. Just kind of like poke my head in and free movie, right?
Yeah.
Free movie.
And plus, I mean, you have that surround sound, and that is a happy place for Bear. You get that like concussive, like full surround, like force of the sound. Yeah, so I am all about going into the theater.
Well, and same thing for Happy with the screen. Right, Happy's never met a screen he didn't stare at.
And Sid is absolutely indifferent about this because he's already snuck in to watch this movie. This is one of the new ones that's in THX.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you all.
It is the actual. It is the 1108 where it's just like there's almost no dialogue. It's all just synth sound.
So you all walk into the actual theater itself, and on the screen it seems to be a remastered version, director's cut of The Blob. And you know this because The Blob is on the screen right now, and the person is not having a great time. That person has died now, and the Blob seems to be kind of staring into the camera per se. And you're not sure what 3D is, but this movie starts to have more of a three-dimensional aspect to it as you're staring at this screen.
So Happy immediately picks up. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
He's going to react immediately by putting up his camera, turning it on, switching it to infrared, and seeing what he sees through it onto the screen. Keeping in mind again that he usually hunts for sightings of ghosts, among other things, with this camera.
So I'm not sure how the Blob would be perceived by infrared. I'm going to assume that it is burning energy in some way, producing heat. Therefore, it's going to be just like a giant splotch of just like angry red, right? That is apparent. Do you see that in the camera? That is no longer in the movie that was playing. There is just a blob on the stage, and it seems to be sort of flowing off of the stage towards you. Not quickly, kind of slowly, honestly. But it does seem to be kind of like a bubbling behind it.
Is there anything visible on the screen behind it? Could you describe what's on screen?
The movie is continuing to play, but the characters are acting as if the Blob has left. As if the person that just died in front of them is no longer an issue. Like, the movie is on its own course now. Their enemy has disappeared.
Are there any objects in the screen that I can identify that you can describe?
In like the movie playing, or like on like physically like part of the screen?
Actually in the movie playing.
I believe this is early on. It's like in the hospital scene, So you see sort of like a medical room in there as the characters are sort of like poking at like the corpse left behind or whatever was left.
I'm going to real quick peek up to the corner and shine my flashlight through the seats. Is there anyone else sitting in this theater?
There is no one else in this theater.
Then I am going to place one hand on Happy's collar and I'm going to start walking towards the exit. I'm like, nope, no way out here. We're going now.
Happy is still filming the blob back there, wanting to pick up everything that he can to watch it back later, but is walking, is going with you. His eyes flicker between the screen looking like through the camcorder, like the eyepiece, and looking up at the screen up there, continuing to have an unnatural amount of interest in what details might exist on the screen.
Bear's going to follow, but Bear's also like, I'm going to take a couple steps, then stop and look, and then take a couple steps back, and it's like, I'll stop again, because I'm not sure I'm actually seeing what I'm seeing. This seems like I am more perplexed than scared at this point. This is like, I'm like, maybe I hit my head. Again, it's oddly quiet. Stuff just came out of a movie screen. Something's really not settling right with me. I'm feeling more and more uncomfortable with the situation. So yeah, like I said, I'll take a couple steps. I look back and then kind of go and then kind of stop and like double checking to make sure that what I saw or what I think I saw is actually what I saw.
So and if it's okay, before we leave the room, or potentially leave the room, Happy either hears or thinks he starts to hear like an electronic buzzing sound, like cables close together. And the weird inside of him stirs. He looks at the screen, and GM, would you say that it's fair in that kind of medical environment that there would be tools for autopsies?
Inside the screen itself? Yeah, absolutely.
So, any kind of tools for that? Like, is there anything that could double as a weapon?
Explicitly, there's probably a bone saw. Outside of the bone saw, maybe some like clamps and other sort of like generalistic tools, but the big one's the bone saw.
So Happy is going to tap into his weird using extract, which is pull objects from video and films, to pull out the bone saw.
Okay. Do you need to roll for that? Is that your passive or is that a activated ability?
It's an active ability.
Okay. Go ahead and roll weird. We'll see what happens.
All right. So that is 2 6s and 2 3s.
Okay. So 2 6s. So you have a critical success. So you get the bone saw. End of conversation. Cool.
That is absolutely not the end of conversation. So Bear sees this, and like I said, Bear was like taking a couple steps and stopping and looking, and then kind of looking between, you know, where Sid and Happy was going and looking back, because something very obviously came out of the screen, and now Happy has pulled another thing out of the screen, and so I'm thinking that Happy has also pulled the blob thing. And I'm not saying anything yet, but I'm becoming very suspicious of Happy.
Happy does not notice this at all.
So I will continue to follow, but I am absolutely keeping a very close eye on Happy. I'm also making sure that nothing else is going to come out of the screen. Again, this feels bad, and it's feeling more and more bad with each passing moment. I am not happy with the situation.
And Sid's just going to be like, I've seen how this movie goes. I don't want to be anywhere near it. I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah, Happy follows suit. Happy got a weapon to try to protect himself and the others, and got his footage of whatever this blob thing is, and feels pretty good about it.
So you all have exit the theater. You all are making your way where?
If no one objects, then I think we're going to make our way down towards the police station.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very much. The arcade was Happy's idea, so I am definitely more prone to agree to go to the police station now.
Okay. Sounds great. As you all are making your way out of the theater, passing the game works, you start to get a tingling feeling. The stale air in the food court has definitely been replaced. It seems like there's a bit more movement about. as y'all are coming out into like the sort of like wider food court area itself, my scanner, are you still like camera up to your face, like watching, or
Yeah.
are you using your light?
No, camera up to my face. I have my light in my hand, but I'm looking through the camcorder.
You notice as you're looking through that there are just lines and lines of sort of like glowing red like trails all over the floor in here. You haven't passed over any yet, but there does seem to be some sort of like heated element on the floor, and it seems to be expanding slowly in a like singular direction.
So I describe that to my companions here, and I offer to show it to them through the camera.
Yeah, Sid's absolutely going to step back and look. Are they straight lines like, pipes, or is it more organic?
I would say organic.
And you said that it's pulsing in a direction. Which direction is it pulsing in?
Well, there's multiple. So there's multiple directions, but there is a line going towards the west and a line going towards the east. And kind of as you like swing the camera around, you notice that there seems to be some of these doors, maybe the shutters are down, but not locked. There seems to be this like presence sort of leaking out of these shutters as well.
All right, and so I'm going to bring up my flashlight and look at the areas that are lit up. Is there a visual difference that I can see in just the flashlight light that corresponds with what I'm seeing through the infrared camera?
So the area that you're looking at, so those patches, those lines, those areas seem to be especially clean, almost as if they're like scrubbed with acid as far as the floor is concerned. The grate seems to be melting.
Oh, that's not good.
So that's where we're at. So the grates are melting. It seems any sort of place, maybe with a TV, has been affected. There seems to be this kind of slime-esque material sort of leaking out of all of these different areas. So carry on. Let me know what you do.
I see the slime leaking out of the monitors as well, right?
Yep.
I'm looking over at Happy, and I'm giving him some side eye at this point. I'm not quite ready to accuse him of something, but again, I've wound up in this mall, don't recall being here, and he just did something, and the something he did is very similar to what's going on around me. So from what I can tell, are the things that are making these lines, are they making any kind of sound at all?
Maybe like a slight sloshing, and it's just barely audible.
Is it sounding like a wave, or is it sounding like something kind of traversing?
This is the 90s, so we have a bit of distance from the 50s, but I would say, you ever heard a gelatin dish jiggle?
Okay.
Kind of like that, with a little bit more like fluid in it.
I'm going to use my passive echolocate, and I'm going to move forward, but using the sound of sloshing to avoid the sloshy bits.
And Happy, for his part, is going to recommend, not knowing that that's what you're doing, is going to recommend that you avoid those lines and offer to show you the camera to be able to help you see where they are.
Sid is going to head over to one of the tables here, the closest table here in the food court, and is going to pull a napkin out of the napkin dispenser, and is going to find the closest one of these little rivulets, and he's just going to drop the napkin onto it and see what happens.
So this Chipotle napkin you have grabbed, you drop it into the trail left behind, and it just slowly starts to like shrink and wither. Like it's like you dropped it into like a sort of like a burning flame, and it just sort of like.
Oh, that's not good. Yeah. And Sid takes another glance up at the grate and I say, I think we better book it, or otherwise the ladder might be dissolved by the time we get there.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and move forward. And again, using my echolocate ability, I should be able to navigate without running into anything that's moving. So again, I'm kind of not at a fast clip, but at a semi-brisk pace, still being cautious, but fully relying I am comfortable with my ability to avoid things by sound. I'm going to move south and then towards the east. I'm going to try to hook and get out of this food court.
Nope, we're headed west.
Oh, we're headed west? Oh, yes, you're correct. West. Sorry. Yay, dyslexia. My other left.
Military left, soldier.
Yes.
Yeah.
So y'all head west, and you're heading towards the police station.
And I am specifically walking as fast as I can safely navigate around any of the ooze on the floor. And I am specifically watching the floor as I go with my flashlight.
Sounds good. So as you're beelining it in a as safe way as possible, right? You're focused on going forward, so you don't necessarily see it. The other two players, if you all are sort of like looking around as you're following behind your point man, you might see this. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah. 100% Happy's looking around, flashlight in one hand, infrared in the other, sort of looking wherever he can, but not pointing the flashlight toward where the infrared is, because that'd be kind of rude.
Yeah, Sid is focused on the 10 feet of floor in front of him because he's working on identifying the safest path around any of the goop.
Sounds good. So the two people behind Sid, you'll notice that as you all are continuing down this hallway, the slime coming out of these businesses seems to sort of be building up a bit more. Behind you, you hear maybe doors hitting the floor as they're sort of maybe disintegrated. Maybe whatever's left of the door has hit the ground. But it seems your big friend is pursuing you.
At that point, is Happy still holding the bone saw, or has he put it away?
The bone saw, I mean, he wouldn't really have hands for that. So yeah, the bone saw is sort of tucked in a piece of his clothing that would be able to hold it to his body.
Okay, so at that point, because we're behind Sid, I'm kind of close to Happy, and I grab him kind of by the wrist so he can't grab for that bone saw. And I'm like, stuff came out of the screen. You pulled stuff out of the screen. What the fuck are you doing?
And as soon as I hear Bear starting to talk to Happy, I'm going to stop in place and I'm going to turn around and pay attention to them and possibly see our big friend starting to meander his way down the concourse here.
Is he visible? Is the friend visible if we turn around and look?
The friend is not currently visible, but
Okay.
You do see a hallway that is full of smaller boys, right? These other boys are definitely starting to emerge from the other shops.
Okay, so I take a look at my wrist being held, and I say, I'm trying to help us get out of here, and I try to pull away from it.
I'm going to hold him firm. No, you're pulling stuff out of the screens. What the hell are you doing?
Well, I pulled something out of the screen because something came out of the screen. And I thought it'd be a good idea for us to get ourselves another weapon.
You're not making the ooze?
Well, why would I make the ooze? I'm stuck in here with you.
Fuck if I know. How do I know you didn't bring me here?
You don't. I don't know that you didn't bring me here, but I don't see what the upside is for me.
And as this is going on, Sid is going to pick his way back across the floor to the other two. I'm assuming there was a little bit of distance there. And I'm going to say, look, I understand that this is a lot of stress for a lot of us, but let's wait until we get out to have this conversation. And then I try to direct their attention towards the small oozes that are, emerging from the storefronts.
Ugh. Yeah, let's get out of here.
Yeah, I don't think this bone saw is going to do much to that anyway. And then I turn to keep going with the group.
So I know from my experience walking through malls, there are locations within the mall with fire department emergency water hose access. Is there one nearby?
Let's say you're by the children's place right now.
Right.
I would say that there's probably some sort of fire panel or alarm system. Maybe even a pull the fire alarm. Whether that activates the sprinklers, we'll find out.
I'm saying there's like a coiled fire hose in like a break glass in case of emergency sort of box. Nice. With a nice big red handle that the fire department can turn it on if they need to, say, put out a fire inside the mall where they can't get their truck in.
Like what John McClane tied around his waist in Die Hard.
Yes.
Right. Very good.
And so I'm asking, is there one of those nearby?
No. The best I can do is a big fire extinguisher.
Okay.
An important question. I think I know the answer, but I do want to clarify. This is a single-level mall, not a multi-level mall, correct?
This is a single-level mall.
Okay, making sure.
On that note, I do want to clarify, the bone saw you pulled is not necessarily a flat blade saw. When I was thinking of it, I was thinking of a rotary bone saw with a battery on it.
Okay, copy that.
Okay, just so we're all on the same page. This
Alright,
is
good
kind of bulky, but you could carry it.
So I'm going to pull this fire extinguisher off the wall. We're going to tuck my cylinderless revolver into my what would be a belt, but basically Sid got in trouble one day for having saggy pants. And so they did the thing that they do, which is they give you a piece of string to tie your pants up. And he has kept that string and has continued to use it. And so that's what he has holding up his pants. And so he's tucked it down into his waistband. And he's got this fire extinguisher and he's just hefting it up onto his shoulder in case we might need to freeze some ooze in a little bit. It's like, okay, let's book it. The longer we stand around here, the less likely we are to get out.
Yeah, so I'm going to pick up pace and I'm going to follow behind Sid. Still wary of Happy. I feel a little better, but I don't feel 100% better. I still think he has something to do with all this shit.
As we're going, Happy's holding on the bone saw a little awkwardly. He looks over at you and he says, do you want it?
I shake my head no.
And now that I am aware of the other smaller oozes starting to form up, Sid is going to be decidedly going a little bit slower and taking more time to take in his surroundings. Because now he has more than just these little paths of acid on the ground to worry about. So he's going to be looking at storefronts, he's going to be occasionally looking up at the ceiling to see if there's anything up overhead, because he does not want to turn into that napkin.
Absolutely.
Okay, sounds good. So y'all have made it from the children's place to just outside the clothing store. You're at the northern side of it. You can sort of see the supposed northwest exit. It has been caved in, and it does seem to have a particular clean shine to it as well, as you can sort of see bubbling coming from the rocks.
That's not good.
No.
Because fizzing usually means carbon dioxide, and carbon dioxide means we can't breathe. So...
Is there a sporting goods store nearby where we're at?
It's on the opposite side of the store, closer to the restoration hardware outlet.
Okay, never mind then. I'm just saying this would be the perfect time to be able to skateboarding down through the mall.
So I'm going to, because from the intersection we're at now, we should be able to see the front of the police station. And so I'm going to cautiously approach and take care to assess what threats might be here as I approach this police station.
So the slime has started to get really out of control. There's a kind of popular 90s game called The Floor is Lava that you might have to start approaching now. That might be a really good idea. You're in a mall. There's a lot of stuff sort of in that center area.
Yeah, I was going to ask if there was raised areas to walk.
There's little garden beds, maybe a little fountain, some chairs. You have a good bit. You're also all wearing shoes. Do we know how your shoe soles are going to react to this stuff? Who knows?
Do we want to know how our shoe soles are going to react to this stuff? I like my Chucks. I don't want to step in the acid with my Chucks.
Yeah.
So, is there any reason why we cannot safely enter the police station? At least visually from the outside.
Yeah, and again, reminder, my infrared camcorder is scouring that area.
For some reason, as far as you know, there does not appear to be any slime or weird substance emerging from the police station. It seems that it has been unaffected by recent events.
Well, that's suspicious.
Suspicious and interesting both.
Yeah.
But getting there is definitely going to be hard, because this entire area is very much covered in slime, as previously discussed.
Well, I guess it's time for a science experiment. So I'm gonna get up on a bench or something that's there on the side, and I'm going to pull the pin on this fire extinguisher, and I am going to try and freeze a patch of this acidic slime with the fire extinguisher.
Okay. So, I'm not a chemistry major. I have no idea how this would work. So, we're just going to excuse the idea of this hypothetical. You have sprayed a very cold chemical spray on a very acidic slime thing. Every movie I've seen says that thing freezes and, like, might shatter, but it's no longer acidic to you. That's how I'm going off of it. So.
Okay, well then, in that case, I'm going to say, all right, guys, stay close. I don't know how much I've got in this thing. And I'm just basically going to do a World of Warcraft Death Knight walk on water thing where I'm just freezing a narrow path in front of me as I walk to the police station.
We're doing a spray and pray?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's
There.
right.
Yeah, I'm following behind.
Yeah, me too.
Sounds good. So, you all freeze your way over to the police station. You're able to make it up the steps. No one slips, no one falls. You all have pretty good athleticism, we'll say. You make it up the stairs and are crossing the threshold of the police station.
Am I seeing any screens in the police station, like closed-circuit TV screens, anything that might indicate the outside world?
So, for whatever reason, the police at this mall were not well funded. They do not necessarily have a ton of equipment. They might have one monitor for a closed-circuit camera, but that is probably the only monitor in here. This is still the 90s. We're still doing a lot of hand paperwork. That's kind of where we're at right now. So there might be one monitor in here, and we're not quite sure if it works.
So immediately, Happy's attention goes straight to that monitor. He starts fiddling with it to see if he can get it to work and see what's going on outside from in here.
Okay.
I immediately start watching Happy to see if any more ooze starts coming out of this monitor. I'm not making it obvious, but I'm definitely like, if ooze starts coming out of this monitor, I'm going to have a serious problem.
And Sid is first going to check, do I still have charge on my fire extinguisher? Is there anything left in it?
It feels pretty empty, but you probably got like one more good like spray, but you're pretty low.
All right. Well then, while Happy is looking at the screen and trying to figure that out, Sid is going to post up at the door and just watch. And he says, let me know whenever you're done, and then we'll go and check that access ladder.
I'm going to start, again, while keeping a suspicious eye on Happy, I'm going to start going through drawers and cabinets. I'm looking for keys, any type of communication device, anything of particular note or value that we can kind of swoop out of this police station. It's also a police station, and nefarious intent, and so anything that the police don't have, I am perfectly okay with.
Fair enough. So you do find a set of keys.
Okay.
And they are clearly marked evidence because that's how that works. There is a small evidence cage in the back of the police station that you could maybe rifle through.
Absolutely. So yeah, I will see the keys, and yeah, I'm absolutely going to go and peruse through the evidence cabinet.
So this is a mall. So again, we're not going to have a ton of stuff in here. There might be some like minor drug paraphernalia. There might be some stuff to go with that paraphernalia. Outside of that, you might have some like sharp knives, maybe some mall ninja stuff.
I'll grab a couple. Go ahead. What was that last one?
It's a mall. Like, evidence here is kind of just whatever's been taken from kids being kids and kind of dumb.
Right. I'll grab a couple of the knives, and then I also want to see, like, if there are any names attached to the evidence of people I might know, so I can buy favors later on, possibly.
Okay. There is a Mitchell.
Okay.
There is a Jody. And there is we'll go with Johnny in there.
I'm going to grab the tags, just the name tags for Mitchell and Jody. Not necessarily the evidence, but I am removing their names from the evidence.
Okay. Sounds good. So, as you're going through all this, there is a board in the back of this room, and it is just a large wall of, like, missing people's posters that have all been sort of, like, posted up in here. For your information, these children are missing. If you see them, call.
Do any look like Happy?
Yes, there is one that looks like Happy. It seems to be sort of at middle section towards the top of this board. There seems to be a lot more recent ones over top of it.
I grab the photo that looks like Happy, and I take that one down. I fold it up and I stick it in my back pocket.
Okay, sounds good. So we've got that. You're good there. You have removed evidence from the evidence locker.
Yes.
Going back to the front, is our doorman still here?
Yep, I'm still looking.
So the slime seems to be sort of like paused at the entrance to the police station. You sort of like, in general, I think you're sort of like moving about, kind of like trying to see out of the police station, see around the corners a little bit, right?
Yeah, I'm clearly inside the door, but I am at the door, looking out and just, assessing what's going on outside.
Okay. So as you're doing so, you do notice the big boy starting to make his way around the corner. And he is much, much larger than when he came through that cinema. Seems he has been sort of gathering some of the slime that is accrued throughout the building. And he is now sort of like, he rises above the department stores at this point. But he's moving very slowly.
Happy, I think we're done here. We need to go.
Okay, has Happy had any luck trying to get this screen going?
The screen, it's just broke. You see like a service ticket on like the side as you're like working on it, and it's just like, it's broken, a new monitor has been purchased, gives a date. And it was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, so Happy is more than ready to get moving.
Alright, so you all are heading towards the rear exit ladder situation?
Yes.
And this is something that I have snuck in here a couple of times and gone out this ladder, so I know where this ladder is.
Okay. So you lead the way. The keys, so you have the evidence keys, then you also have the security key for this door on the key ring. So you're able to get through that first door. The issue comes into play with, you know how like a McDonald's or whatever has that like security cage over the first like 10 or so like ladder rings on things outside? That is also
I used to build
here.
those.
Oh, that's funny. So that cage is encapsulated here. There is just a singular master lock on here. You do not currently have the keys for it. How do you wish to proceed?
I do have a lockpick.
Well, I also have a giant fire extinguisher, and I am a strong dude. I'm going to try and smash the lock off.
As you go to do that, Happy puts out a hand for a second and indicates the bone saw, and then offers to hand it over to you in case you want to try that first.
And I look at it and say, this should be quicker, and I just smash it.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me force.
Okay. That's a 6, so that's a success.
Alright, success, no complications. You bash that lock open. You're really showing those lock-picking experts what it's really about.
I don't need finesse right now. I just need out.
Fair.
Like, I am done. I am done. I want out.
So you all flip the cage open, start climbing the ladder. You make it to the roof. There's not a lock on that one. There's just flip the door open. You head on outside.
I'm going to stop with my head peeking out and use my flashlight and look around first, but yeah.
So as you sort of like look around, it is just brilliant white light. There's not really anything else out of here. It's just blinding light.
So I try looking through my infrared camcorder. Is it just blown out?
It's just blown out, absolutely.
Okay.
So if I look down at the roof, can I see the building that we're in, under my feet? Or, is it just such a brilliant light that I can't see anything out here?
Everything sort of feels just fuzzed out. Like, you're starting to develop a pretty heavy migraine at this point. You cannot see the floor.
Okay. I'm gonna
that's
say
weird. That's just it.
Yeah, nope, not getting out this way. Head down. And I'm squinting my eyes shut this whole time. Just head down.
I start backing back down the ladder.
Yeah, I mean, I'm heading back down too.
And as soon as my head is below the level of the roof, I slam the access door back shut, and I just hang on to the ladder there for a couple of seconds and blink my eyes until the dots start disappearing. Okay.
You are at an issue, though. The slime is outside, not the room you're in, but outside the police station. There is only, in theory, one way out of here right now.
Yeah, that is a problem.
On just a pure lark, I do have a package of peanuts in my pocket, of all things. So I kind of go to the inner edge of the police store where I see the slime kind of gathering up, and I open this package and I pour like 3 or 4 of these things into my hand, and I toss them out, kind of hooking around back towards the north, towards the marshals. And I'm wanting to see if the slime reacts to it at all.
So, to further sort of elaborate on the slime being at the doorway, the slime is the size of the police station at this point, and is slowly trying to fill the police station with its presence.
Well,
So your
that
peanut
then.
goes straight into it.
Does it have a
It
peanut?
now has a peanut.
But is the peanut dissolving?
The peanut is dissolving.
Okay. So,
Do you want to risk it for the biscuit?
first off, I want to see, is there a supply closet in here with like cleaning product?
Yeah, it's a police station. They need to clean.
Okay, so I'm looking for like an industrial sized bottle of bleach or ammonia or some cleaning product that I know is very basic. So can I find a bottle of bleach or a bottle of ammonia in here?
Absolutely.
All right, so I'm going to grab it and I'm going to twist the lid off and just
Don't
do a
mix
quick.
the two. Don't
No,
mix the two.
no,
Don't mix the two.
I'm only grabbing one. I'm only grabbing one, and I'm going to give a quick slosh at it and see if it reacts, because acid basic tend to neutralize one another, and so I'm wanting to see if this ooze is going to react to me, splashing it with bleach.
It does react. It does produce a kind of foul odor in the air as these two materials come into play. It is not a great smell. It is not something you probably want to smell for long, but it is not necessarily like, I don't know what substance that makes, but it's bad.
Does it recoil in any way, or?
I think at this point, a little bit of bleach compared to the mass it has acquired is probably not sufficient to really have any larger impact on it.
I'm just wondering if I'm judging to see if it has any reaction at all. If a part of it, starts to pull away a little bit, even if the entire mass stays put. I'm just wanting to see if I affected it at all, or if it just made a really noxious stench.
I would say it probably staggers it. So it is kind of confused, a little puzzled, didn't like that, but wasn't overly affected by it. So you bought some breathing space is probably the best way of phrasing it.
Some very foul breathing space. Okay, so I'm going to proceed to dump the rest of the jug out as close to the door as I can.
Okay.
Basically, just making a hazardous terrain that it has to go across, ideally, if it wants to get into us, just to buy us a little bit extra time while we figure out what we're doing.
Okay. So that's happening. What's happening on the ladder?
As I come down the ladder, I see what Sid's doing. I get another idea, and I'm going to look for anything flammable that might be in that supply closet as well. And then if there's any like cloth-covered office chairs or maybe carpet or something along, I'm going to try to see if I can fashion a torch that we can use to kind of see if fire will push this thing back as well, without setting the building on fire.
Okay. So you're able to find I want to say like Febreze, because I don't think Febreze is flammable.
Okay.
You find a generic cleaning substance that is pretty flammable. Maybe there's a bottle of like whiskey in the back. And the evidence locker.
It's a mall, yeah.
Well, it's a can of furniture polish.
No, it's an actual bottle of Fireball that someone snuck into the mall.
I don't know if Fireball was around in the 90s.
It is. I had another game. It is.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I will trust you on that.
It's Fireball under a different name, but it's still Fireball.
Okay,
fair. So yeah, I want to do that, and then like if I can like wrap some of that around, like soak a cloth in that and wrap it around. Like I said, break a chair, use a chair leg or something, but I do want to make a small torch if I can. And
so, yeah, absolutely.
So I'm going to quickly light that torch, and I'm going to kind of thrust it, not necessarily in at first, but towards the slime to see if it reacts to the close heat, and then I'll try to push into it if I can to see if it reacts more than it would with the acid.
So it definitely doesn't like the heat. But again, it's sort of that staggering action. Like you're getting closer to it, like it's pulling back maybe some of its like mass to the larger framework, but it's not moving away from the door. And it kind of feels like it has made itself part of the door. Like, there's nothing going out of the door that isn't going through this thing, right?
Okay. So I will snuff the torch so I can light it later. I don't want to waste the torch.
You are probably all starting to feel a bit lightheaded at this point.
Oh, great.
So, just judging by just generally the construction on the interior of malls, I'm going to go over to the wall adjoining one of the other storefronts that's, adjacent to the police station. I'm going to go along the south wall, I think. I'm going to knock on the wall until I find a spot between the supports, between the studs, and then I'm going to take the fire extinguisher and I'm going to use it as a sledgehammer, and I'm going to try and punch a hole through the wall.
Is there drywall at this point, or is all the walls still the stone, or is that just the exterior-most walls?
All the walls in the building are this same sort of generic cobblestone. So,
all right,
around the same thing.
Sorry, I was under the impression that was only in the food court area.
No, the entire, someone has mined out the entire mall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind then.
Oh, damn. We are cornered, and I do not like this.
Happy? You got any ideas?
Happy's just been looking around with his camcorder to see if there's any differences in temperature that can be read along these walls, or if there's anything that he's able to pick up in terms of details for other possible hidden passageways, if there's any kind of trap door or anything else that they haven't noticed that could possibly lead down. Since the light or whatever it is outside seemed to have a violent effect on us, Happy is thinking that to get out, maybe we need to go down instead of going up.
So as you're looking across, you do notice a small hole in the corner of the fire escape area that leads to the sewers.
So Happy indicates that to the two of you, suggesting that we check to see if there's any of this sort of oozy stuff down there, and if it looks all clear, that we're probably going to be best off trying to take the sewers out.
Okay. Real quick, before we head down, I realize you said that this was an underfunded police station, but I was wondering if there might be a closet or a room where they have, say, extra gear, and maybe we can find ourselves some gas masks.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Oh, yeah, that is a solid idea.
So some riot gear, and try and find some gas masks, and, I wouldn't be opposed to liberating, a Kevlar vest or something. Not that a Kevlar vest is going to do a whole lot against a giant acidic ooze monster, but it'll look cool.
Fair.
At least you'll die in style, right?
Yeah.
So, to burst your bubble, this is an underfunded police station in the 90s.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
This is not just a underfunded police station in the 90s. This is an underfunded police station in the 90s in a mall. There's not been sort of the need or the buildup of supplies or gear or incidents to necessitate gas mask in a mall.
Okay, now that's perfectly fair. You don't get it if you don't ask.
That's absolutely fair. So now there might be that one cop, there's always that one that's overgeared and has all sort of private stuff from home. There might be one gas mask in some drawer somewhere, but it might be...
If there's not an obvious storeroom with kit in it, then I'm not going to take the time to dig around right now.
Sounds good. So you do not find that. That doesn't exist then. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. So you have access to the sewers, in theory. You have a bleach / smoke and not a lot of air left in this area. So what you gonna do?
I will check out, and I'm going to listen at the opening to the sewer to see if I hear anything that sounds similar to the oozes or anything that may sound hostile, or if I can hear maybe airflow coming through or anything see if it's a stagnant room or if there's things moving in or out or anything like that.
You hear the dripping of water and maybe like a large fan in the distance, sort of moving air around to prevent dead air from permeating the area.
I tell Happy and Sid that it sounds clear. I'll take my flashlight and kind of shine it down before stepping down in the inn.
Well, and I'll push your flashlight away 1 second, not overly aggressively, so that I can point my infrared camera down there and see if I pick up any heat signatures.
I notice and I do appreciate the aid in this case. So yes, thank you.
Okay. You do not see any red heat signatures. This is a cooler, damp place. They're probably getting, more blues and grays than anything else. But there are no red heat instances down here, as far as you can tell.
Yeah, I'll show it to them and let them know that it looks like it's clear.
Right, better than here. So.
Yeah.
Okay. So you all head down?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So you all slip into the sewers, and as you do so,
and
you find yourself... Go ahead.
I'm going to be the third down the ladder, and I'm going to close the hatch back over top of us and lock it back in place before going down the ladder.
Okay. So as you close that hatch, you find yourself no longer on the ladder. You all find yourselves in kind of a stone white room. There's no sewers around. You're just in a blank, empty, white room. White stone. You hear some cheering, some applause, as a man in a pinstripe suit walks in through the door. And he has little envelopes in his hand. Congratulations! You're the first group to win the contest. You've made it out of the mall. You all should be very proud of yourself.
I am instantly distrustful of this person.
Yeah, I'm not liking this dude.
Yeah, does he look familiar to us at all? And here I'll mention that my passive is recall. I retrieve an image from memory with high precision.
So, not just that, but he is wearing this pinstripe suit. You all are kind of wearing white suits and have a helmet on as he's coming in. You can remove that helmet if you want. Your recall, your general recall, you're starting to really, it's becoming a little bit clearer. And you remember signing up for a new video game contest, right? Can you escape the Mall of Horror? 3-hour limit. Virtual reality.
Oh, that's fucking weird. I love it. This makes me want to watch Total Recall. I think I'm loading up Total Recall after this tonight. That's going to happen, I'm pretty sure.
That's fantastic.
Oh, damn. Okay, awesome. Yay, escape rooms. I love escape rooms. I had no idea this was an escape room.
I think that was part of the plan.
Yeah, but still, that was okay, fine.
That's awesome.
So he hands you all your envelopes. There's the money inside. You all are free to go.
How much money is in there?
This is the 90s. It's a contest. Let's say $100.
It works for me.
Yeah.
I'm still very suspicious. I may remember signing up for this, but just the experience has had a lot of bleed, and so I haven't completely left the mall yet.
I reach into my back pocket. I feel in my back pocket. Is that poster I grabbed still there or no?
It is.
Oh shit. Oh
and
shit.
I realize in the same moment that I still have the bone saw.
The bone saw hasn't appeared.
Interesting.
Do I still have my fire extinguisher?
No, just that poster.
So no flashlights with backup batteries, the hand crank mini TV, all those items are gone.
All those items are gone. So the
but
items
I have the poster. That's fucking weird. Holy shit. I look around, so I see the gentleman. We're in this white room. Do I see an exit out of this room? Is it wide open? Does it look like we're still sequestered off?
No, he has come through a door, and you see sort of people moving about outside. It seems as if this is a place within a mall. So you're just in a closed door.
So is the mall, does it seem like it's the same mall we were in, but it's not made out of that carved stone?
Yeah, yes it does.
So it looks like the exact same mall, but it's made out of what we would, in this world, typically consider malls to be made of. There's no sign of that carved stone anywhere around us.
Linoleum and tile outside.
Oh, I pull Happy over and very quietly I hand him the poster and I got this in the police station? And I hand him that because everything else from the thing's gone, but I have something from the VR. So he did help me come down here. He was, so again, feeling a little bit better. So I'm going to hand him that and I'm going to kind of look at him while I hand him the poster and look at the dude, and I'm going to look at Sid, and I'm going to look towards the door. And I am ready to bolt towards the door in a moment. Just the slightest provocation, I am bolting towards the door.
So as you hand it to Happy, Happy looks down at it. Does he see the picture of his brother there?
Yep.
Okay. He's going to do two things. He's going to check where he keeps his own missing person flyer to make sure it's not the same one.
Okay. It is not.
And he's going to take his actual infrared camera recorder out. He's going to turn it on. He's going to point it at the one that he was just handed.
The poster.
The poster.
I am not entirely sure how it would show up. There's probably remnant heat signatures from like you guys touching it, so it's probably a little warmer. But it's just a poster.
Okay, then he's going to turn his camcorder back up over toward the guy who was talking to us.
The person in front of you, weird. Like he is definitely like cooler tones. You know, not a lot of red going on there.
Sid is going to put one hand back on his revolver, and he's going to say, Happy, I want you to rewind that tape and look and see if you have any footage from inside the mall.
Okay, Happy absolutely does that. Is there anything in particular that we're looking for? I definitely have footage inside the mall. I for sure got footage.
I want to see that the footage that he has on his camera is us in that mall, in that rocky mall with the ooze creature, and it's not actually just, some VR deck.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, so I go through my camera and I play back what I have. What do I have on my camera?
So you rewind all the way back, and you have recording of this gentleman approaching you and asking if you were interested in playing a game. He tells you, hey, you join this game for the company I represent. If you win the game, we'll give you X amount of money. If you want to bring people with you, you can. However you want to do this. If not, we have people that are already signed up that, could use another member. Are you interested in playing?
Okay.
And then from there, the footage pauses, and then it's cutting to you in the game.
Okay. So I show that to the group. I put it away, but I whisper as low as I can with the group. Are you two standing next to me, more or less?
Yeah.
Okay, so I say...
Yeah, I'm close to you, but I'm still on the verge of bolting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I am currently halfway between the two of you and the dude in the
so I
pinstripe suit.
I say under my breath, as in my pocket, I grab hold of my paper cutter. I say, he looked a little cooler than people usually do on my camera.
Well, I'm just a cool guy. And he gives you that Homelander smile.
Homelander smile, huh?
That's what I'm going with.
I need to watch Homelander.
No,
It's the boys, right? Yeah, but I need to watch
boys.
that. Yeah, I need that.
Nah, it's giving me very roll for initiative vibes. All right. Yeah, I'm holding that paper cutter tighter.
Do I recall at any point, do I have any memory of joining a VR, or is this all new to me?
Again, with your building, you do remember being approached. The money he offered did sound pretty nice. Beat a game, win money. Seems like a pretty good deal. If your character wouldn't say that, other stuff happens, so just let me know. But that's the pitch.
Okay. I'm going to use my active ability, and while looking at the guy that gave us the envelopes, I'm going to start humming a lullaby. And my active ability is to put living things to sleep. I'm going to see if he gets drowsy or kind of falls asleep. So I'm going to start talking kind of softly at him. And like I said, start humming this little bit of a lullaby and seeing if this guy fades out.
He looks at you and just has this twinkle in his eyes and a just a pearly white smile. That's such a lovely song.
I start screaming, not real, not real, not real, not real, and I start heading towards the door.
Okay. And I step in and I try to club him with my revolver.
Okay. Paper cutter, are you also slashing? Or are you running?
So, no, I am going to move forward to attack as well with the paper cutter.
Okay. So, pistol, you just knock him upside the head. Normally this would cause maybe bruising or a concussion. The person just seems to take it. It hits. There's definitely mass there. But what seems to spill out as the head sort of isn't caved in a bit seems to be sort of green zeros and ones. The same happens when you slash across the chest.
Yeah, so the same happens with the zeros and ones coming out. Okay.
Yep.
Happy? Is this more your computer bullshit?
No, I'm more film and TV. I'm more.
All right, let's pontificate later. and I put one hand across his chest as I sort of back away, and I'm pushing him with me towards the door and towards where Bear has gone to.
Yeah.
I'm just standing sort of defensively, ready to lay into him again, even though my attack really didn't seem to do much.
The man seems to smile. Well, we appreciate your time. We do ask that you leave a 5-star review for playing our game. Thank you, and have a great day.
So I'm going to push out the door I saw. I'm hitting that door with a fair amount of force. As I push through the door, what do I see?
You're in a mall. It's a standard mall in the Bay. Everyone's out there. No one really pays you any attention. You come out in sort of a huff, but it's a mall.
I
People
turn
have other
around.
things.
Does it look like I came out of like a particular arcade or a business room, or does it still seem fairly generic?
You kind of came out of like an alleyway and you see sort of like Joe's VR above the door.
And through my infrared camcorder, approaching this outside area as well, I'm looking around specifically at the people walking by. Do they have heat signatures similar to Mr. Hologram behind us?
Nope, it's exactly as it was in like the real world. This is reality. You're back.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I have this like weird paranoid feeling now. I'm out, but am I out? I don't like this.
It's very Inception, right?
Yeah.
Layers deep.
I say, I need a cup of coffee, and I need it to not be in this mall.
Yeah. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, we are going to the closest exit, and we are leaving. And if I have to walk around half the building to get back to my car, because I do have car keys, which implies I have a car, I'm going to do it. I'm not doing anything else on the inside of this mall if I can help it.
No, I am done. Let's go.
I'm going with you all to head outside.
Okay. And that's where the adventure ends.
Oh,
You have
oof.
successfully completed the Mall of Horror.
Nice.
All right.
That was fun. That was
Good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great time. I do think we were all smart, though, to be worried about the switcheroo there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we honestly could have stopped an hour ago. I kind of overplayed the roof access. I was kind of trying to associate with like you're starting to get the migraine because you're being pulled back to the virtual reality.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of what I was getting to is like, but I had to wait for everyone to get off the ladder into here before I could like kind of spring that.
Right.
Fair.
And,
Yeah.
what I was getting was that it was almost more of the mall has been picked up and is in this liminal space between dimensions, and so it's like in an extra dimensional space, and so there isn't anything physically around
There.
it. It's just sort of there,
Yeah.
floating in space.
Getting that or like the walls of the universe in the Truman Show.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah. That was like the out of bounds area, and it was like, okay, you're out of bounds, like you're gonna be pulled back. You have made it out of the mall, so you're out of bounds of the VR, but you have been pulled from the VR back to reality. Like you haven't removed your headset yet. You're kind of in this like, ooh, this is weird vibe.
So if someone else is running this in the future, I think a really interesting twist would be if they do hit that kind of boundary space, what if they teleport back either to the start or to a random point back into the mall, like it resets?
Yeah, like
So that's a good idea. On my page, you guys rolled, or what I rolled for you, roof was an escape. So that was the escape area.
Okay,
I
great.
couldn't send you back up the roof, so I just gave you the sewers. I was like, okay. Like, they're obviously not going to go back up there. I try to hint and get you guys to go back up there. It didn't work. So I was like, okay, you find the sewers. It's right there. Cut.
Good deal. Yeah.
So we're done with the recording. I'm going to show you kind of behind the scenes a little bit so you guys know kind of like what your options were.
Okay.
And just kind of do like an autopsy of the game.
I should end the recording on my side as well, right?
Go ahead.
Let's go ahead and just do a quick wrap up then here at the end. So yeah, Chris, thank you so very much for coming up with this game and running it for us. I think we all had an amazing time.
Yeah, like honestly, like that game gave me the squicks in the best possible way. I loved it. Thank you very much. That was so much fun.
That was incredibly cool. A lot of fun.
Thank you all for playing, and hopefully I'm able to get this out as a one page for everyone to enjoy.
And Danny, thank you also for signing up to come and join us and play with us, because I think this is the right number of players for this. I think three feels about right.
It does.
Thanks for having me. I mean, this has been a blast. I really enjoyed it. I'd be down to play again. And yeah, I agree. I think that the size of the party felt perfect. It felt really well balanced for this.
And thank you everyone for listening. If you have any comments, suggestions, or ideas, send us an email undercommontaste@gmail.com or come and join us on our Discord. You can find a link to the Discord and all of our social media through our website, undercommontaste.com. You can also find a link to our Patreon page, patreon.com/undercommontaste, or our itch page, undercommontaste.itch.io. And you can also find our Twitch page, twitch.tv/undercommontaste, where James has been doing some stuff. James, I'll let you take over for that.
Yeah, so you can join me on Twitch. Right now we are doing a playthrough of Neverwinter Nights. I have adopted what I'm calling the Thai Chili Challenge for Neverwinter Nights, and every second main character death, I am popping a Thai chili that's coming in at about 1,000 to 150,000 Scoville units, so it is definitely good inspiration to play better.
That's a very big range, James. Are you sure about those numbers?
Yeah, 100,000 to 150,000 Scoville. Yeah,
because you said 1,000, and
no, 100 to 150,000. Yes.
Okay.
So it is good inspiration to play better, noob. So we're doing that. This is our Halloween show. I am intending also to be playing Darkest Dungeon once a week at least, because again, that is one of my all-time favorite games for immersion, storytelling, narration, art, and it is perfect for the Halloween season. So join me on Twitch if you would like. You can also join us on Discord. We're on TikTok. You can find our other podcasts on your podcatcher of choice. We would love for you to join us and give us a like and a comment and let us know what you want to see more of.
So stay safe, everyone. Happy Halloween. Good luck with any trick-or-treating you might do tomorrow. Stay safe, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Happy gaming.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Undercommon Taste. Our theme song is Massacre Ann, written and performed by Mary Kroll and used with permission. You can find Mary online at marykroll.bandcamp.com or on Patreon at patreon.com/Dr. Mary C. Kroll. Our logo is by David Sutherland. You can find more of David's work on deviantart.com/David Sutherland or on instagram.com/Willex_73. We'll be back in 2 weeks, so stay safe and we'll see you then.